Hello and welcome to Trojans Live, presented by Monster Energy at AM 790 KBC and across the USC Trojans Media Network. I am Jordan Moore, alongside Sean Cody, Max Brown, and the new head coach for USC men's basketball. Please welcome Eric Musselman to the Trojan family and to the Trojans Live family here. Great to have you, Coach. USC's head coach interview is presented by iTrust Capital, the official crypto platform of the USC Trojans. Coach, I was lucky enough to be at the press conference and talk to you a little bit there, but you had a great gig going. You come over to USC. Ultimately, what was the deciding factor to get you out here to Los Angeles?
I think there was a lot of factors. One, when you continue to have conversations with Jen Cohen, the vision for what she wants, not just from the basketball program, but from all of the athletics. It's so important as a head coach to have a partnership, with the athletic director. And the more I talked, the more excited I became, and really interesting. She even had, my wife Danielle was part of one of the Zooms, which I had never had that happen in an interview. I think it was important for Jen, for her to get to know my spouse as well. And so I think that's one factor. And then the brand of USC, growing up in San Diego, the power of USC is really, really strong, not just regionally, but nationally as well. And then I just thought that there was a ton of potential, for the basketball program, and to see what, Lindsay did this season. If you get the right players, this thing can explode, and certainly that's what our goal is and our vision is. A lot of work ahead of us for sure, and then just from a personal side, that was a big part of the decision as well. I have a daughter that's going to be going into her freshman year. And we wanted her to be in a spot that, where she might go to college, which she's definitely going to go to college somewhere on the West Coast. And from being out this way, that was extremely important as well. My mom never saw an Arkansas home game, and she was at the press conference. So yep. I was on the job one day and already got to see my mom, and I hadn't seen her in 5 years, coaching at Arkansas. So for a lot of factors, this is really and people say it, but I truly mean it. This is like a dream job for me.
Coach, for the Trojan fans out there who are unfamiliar with the Musselman brand of basketball, what can we expect to see from your basketball teams and when we get on the court in Galen Center there?
Yeah, I think really maybe because of my pro background, I think once the roster's formulated, I mean, I know what I would like the team to look like. Historically, we've been a team that's been pretty long, athletic. A team that really reacts to loose balls, really good defensive teams we've had. At times we've struggled offensively, shooting the ball, but we've been a really high-volume free throw attempt team, and I don't think that'll change. We were second in the country this year.
Attack the rim.
We attacked the rim, and try to get in the bonus early, try to put pressure on the defense. And then defensively, we haven't played not 1 second of zone in 9 years of coaching college. So much like an NBA, format on both sides of the basketball. So we'll see what our personnel is, because you obviously want to play to your personnel, but we want to try to create mismatches and put the defense in a position where they're committing fouls, and then that allows our defense to get set as well.
Coach, I got to give you props. Yours was the first intro press conference I've seen from a coach with no notes. You just walked up there straight off the skull, which is a good sign, confident sign for sure. And question for me, though, in terms of building this roster, like I'm having deja vu when Lincoln Riley got on board, and you're going to attack the portal. That's the new wave of college sports. With the football, you kind of know, hey, I need 3 quarterbacks on my roster. I need 7 offensive linemen that can go play. Basketball, every decision is so valuable because there's only so many seats. In some rosters, you might be guard heavy. Some rosters, you might be big heavy. How do you approach the portal and roster building in year one, knowing that, hey, every single guy that you take on, has to have a valuable role?
Great question, because you're right, in basketball, if you have an 8-man rotation and you make a mistake on one of those 8, it's going to come back, once you start playing games in November. I think, the makeup of our team, we need 2 point guards, we need 2 off guards, 2 small forwards, 2 power forwards, and 2 centers. But that's easier said than done. If we are going to have an overload positionally. We wanted to be a multi-skilled, multi-positional player, somebody in the mold of 6'5", 6'6", 6'7". Those guys have been the guys that have really thrived in our system. When I look back and think about Cody Martin and Caleb Martin and Moses Moody, Nick Smith, Anthony Black, Jordan Walsh, we've had so many guys of late that have gone on, had really good careers in the NBA. Ricky Council, we had 4 guys off last year's team that are playing in the NBA, and they're all right there at that 6'5" to 6'8" range. And quite frankly, when we were recruiting those 4 guys, people felt like there was no way that they were going to be able to mix together. And I think if you have guys that can play multiple positions, you can't go wrong. So the more 6'6" guys we can have on the roster, the better. We've even played guys out of position like 6'6" point guards that have never played that position in their life, and we kind of turn them into that position, and we feel like defensive rebounding, length, contesting threes, it gives us a huge advantage even if they're not natural point guards.
You're listening to USC men's basketball head coach Eric Musselman on Trojans Live. And Coach, you mentioned USC has a great national brand, but also obviously is a fixture in Los Angeles. How do you plan on approaching that from a recruiting standpoint? Are you focused on trying to attack Southern California, all of California, or are you just looking for 12, 13 great hoopers and it doesn't necessarily matter where they come from?
No, I think in a market like Los Angeles, it's extremely important. I know that the success of Arkansas was we kept players in state, and Moses Moody played for us for 1 year. He was a one and done player, and he led us to an Elite Eight. Led us in scoring as a freshman. So Anthony Black, Dallas was kind of in our region. It was only a 5-hour drive. Another lottery pick who led us to a Sweet 16, led us in minutes played. So those 2 guys are great examples of freshmen that can take you to Sweet 16s or Elite Eights, even though they're not upperclassmen transfers. And I truly believe that the only way to win big is you've got to get 5-star high school players that are NBA lottery picks or NBA first-round picks. And that's certainly got to be what we do here. I think first it's the LA market, then maybe you expand to Northern California. But certainly this area historically has produced a lot of NBA first-round draft picks, and we certainly want to recruit the area as hard as we can.
Coach, we're watching the season wrap up here tonight for college basketball. Where are we at with, when you got to hit this thing running, right? We know college coaches don't ever get time off. This is a full year-round business. There's no off season for you. Where are you at in the season? What part are you at where you got to get or have you got in front of the team yet? Have you got the chance to talk to some? I know a lot of moving pieces still. Where are we at there?
Yeah, so we met. I met individually with guys, and then I also had 3-man meetings. Obviously, there's a lot of guys in the portal. And so you just kind of be as truthful as you can. We're not ever into promising minutes to anybody. We're not into promising starting spots. And then so you just kind of with the players that played last year and are currently going to school and are in the portal and trying to decide what they're doing. I think that you can only talk about your accountability, what's important to you, and then you just kind of put the decision on them. But we're recruiting the portal super hard. We had 5 Zooms today, and it's kind of nonstop until we get this roster together. My wife and daughter went back to Fayetteville, and I told them, hey, I don't know when I'll see you. I'll see you when we have 13 players. That's the next time you'll see me.
It feels like the natural progression for coaches across sports is, you're prideful and you want to get the bigger job and the blue blood program and things like that. But for SC, the brand is powerful. But as a SC basketball fan, it feels like a lot of the chatter is, why can't we be at their level, so to speak? How much of this job was the attraction of the personal fulfillment that could come to by bringing a program to heights they've never been before, potentially, versus on the football side, it's getting back to what that was. Basketball, it's a different beast.
Yeah, I mean, I love challenges, not afraid of challenges. Look, I left one of the best jobs in the country, and I think you see what's going on at Arkansas right now. It proves what a great job it is. I mean, we increased the attendance. We were selling out 20,000 every night. It's a basketball program that's had great history, and I left that because I felt like this is a great challenge. It's it's at a university that I want to be a part of. And the challenge is there. And I think that our leadership at this university wants the basketball program to win as well. And that's super important. And now it's about getting the players, and then building, from one year to the next year. And like I said, obviously we're not going to dive into the high school. It's too late for that for this year, but certainly in the next couple years, we want to try to make a huge imprint in the high school scene as well.
Last one, Coach. A couple weeks ago we had Danton Lynn on, who's the new football defensive coordinator, and he's the son of Anthony Lynn, who was a longtime NFL head coach. And I was talking to you earlier that you are the son of a longtime basketball coach who was an NBA head coach. You were an NBA head coach. The question I asked Danton was, do you think that you're good at this? You got into this because you grew up around it because your dad, or was he really teaching you how to be a coach?
Well, he was for sure teaching me how to be a coach without, maybe him even knowing or me knowing. I think that, when you go on road trips, I was a ball boy, when my dad was coaching the Cleveland Cavaliers. And one of the hardest dinner conversations was when I told my dad I wanted to be the ball boy for the opposing team for all of the 41 home games. And my dad said, why? I thought you'd want to hang out with me. And I was like, no, I want to learn, and I want to see what the other locker rooms are every night. So, had the chance at a really, young age to rebound for guys like Larry Bird and be in the locker room at halftime and hear opposing coaches give halftime speeches and pregame speeches. And, when you look back and you think as a 10th grader and you're in an opposing locker room and you're listening to this stuff, like, wow, that stuff is powerful. And so many great things and stories that I learned from hanging out with my dad, going on road trips, and then the exposure that he gave me, because he was really close with a lot of people in other sports. Paul Brown, the great football coach, lived in La Jolla where I grew up, and I remember my dad having dinner conversations with Paul Brown. My dad was really close with Billy Martin, the former Yankee manager. So I went to World Series when Billy Martin was managing, and actually the series was against the Dodgers one year that I got to hang out. And so I'd just been exposed to so much, and a lot of it's because of my dad. I never thought that I would do anything other than follow in his footsteps. My mom wanted me to be a lawyer. So I went to University of San Diego, and my mom thought I was going to go to law school when I was done, and I ended up selling tickets for the Clippers. So that was a lot different than being a lawyer.
And I can't imagine all those stories. We'll have to get some of those stories out of you as we get going here. But welcome again to the Trojan family. Thanks so much for joining the show. And everyone, I'm sure you're all inspired about everything that you're hearing. Go to usctrojans.com. Put down your season ticket deposit right now. Let's get to Galen. The new season will start in November. The Eric Musselman era has begun here at USC. Thank you, Coach. Coming up, we're going to pivot to Caroline Stern from USC Women's Water Polo. That is next on Trojans Live.
Blue 42.
Give me the energy to